If you've been hearing that the Arizona housing market is finally stabilizing, that's only half the story. Because when you zoom in on what's happening across the valley and the surrounding suburbs, a very different picture starts to appear. Inventory is climbing. More sellers are cutting prices. Homes are sitting longer. And buyers who had almost no leverage during the frenzy of the past few years are suddenly getting something they haven't had in a long time. Now, before we go any further, let's define the word meltdown. I'm not talking about a 2008-style collapse with foreclosures flooding the market overnight. Even Phoenix housing analysts have said this is not that kind of crash. What we are talking about is something slower, quieter, and still very painful for the wrong seller. Demand weakening, listings piling up, concessions returning, and neighborhoods that exploded during the boom now showing real signs of stress. And this shift is not just anecdotal. Across Arizona, the average home value is down 2.2% year over year. Homes are taking around 41 days to go pending statewide, and nearly 66% of sales are happening under list price. In other words, this is no longer a market where sellers can throw out any number and expect buyers to chase it. Zillow. The Phoenix area trend is even harder to ignore. In February, active inventory in Phoenix was up nearly 12% year over year. Median list prices were down 7.6%, and almost 28% of listings had a price cut. On top of that, local reports say the valley had roughly 22,000 homes for sale, with some properties sitting for more than 150 days. That is a completely different atmosphere from the bidding war era. So today, we're breaking down 10 Arizona suburbs facing the biggest warning signs right now, not because every one of them is collapsing, but because each of them is showing some combination of price pressure, bloated inventory, longer selling times, or weakening demand. Let's start with the one that may surprise people the most. Number 10. Scottsdale. Scottsdale is the perfect example of why headlines alone can be misleading. On paper, Scottsdale still looks strong. Zillow shows the average home value at about $848,565, up 1.3% year over year. But underneath that headline, there are serious signs of seller stress. Inventory is sitting at 2,125 homes, 80.3% of sales are closing under list price, and the median sale-to-list ratio is just 0.971. Even more telling, Scottsdale sellers have recently posted some of the biggest median price cuts in the valley, with one report putting the median reduction around $58,000. That means the top line may look resilient, but the negotiation behind the scenes is getting much uglier. Scottsdale.org. For buyers, Scottsdale may finally offer room to negotiate in a market that used to feel untouchable. For sellers, especially in the luxury or upper mid-tiers, this is the kind of environment where overpricing can turn into a six-figure mistake faster than you think. Number 9. Queen Creek. Queen Creek still carries that growth story energy. New jobs, newer communities, and a lot of appeal for families who wanted space during the suburban boom. But this is one of those markets where momentum has clearly cooled. Zillow shows the median days to pending at 48, much slower than many nearby markets, with 65.6% of sales under list. Local reporting also shows Queen Creek leading the valley in the size of median price cuts alongside Scottsdale, and year-over-year pending sales have declined. That combination matters. Slower buyer action, more negotiating, and sellers giving back ground to make deals happen. That doesn't mean Queen Creek is doomed, but it does mean the easy money suburban momentum is fading. In markets built on rapid expansion and confidence, even a moderate slowdown can feel dramatic. Number 8. Maricopa. If you want a suburb with some of the clearest warning signs, Maricopa deserves a serious look. Zillow shows the average home value at $345,010, down 4.5% over the past year, with homes taking around 53 days to go pending. That is one of the weakest year-over-year value shifts on this list. Inventory is also sitting at 621 homes, while more than half of sales are still happening under list. Why does Maricopa matter so much? Because it became a go-to destination during affordability pressure. When buyers got priced out elsewhere, they pushed farther out for value. But the farther out boom markets can also feel the shift first when buyers pull back, commute concerns return, or financing gets tighter. Maricopa looks like the kind of place where affordability once created demand. But now that same positioning may be exposing weakness. Number 7. Surprise. Surprise is another suburb where the softness is hard to ignore. Zillow shows the average home value at $421,071, down 2.7% year over year, with homes going pending in around 33 days. That may not sound catastrophic, but remember, suburbs like Surprise benefited heavily from the migration wave and demand for more house at a lower payment. When those buyer pools thin out, these are the kinds of markets that lose momentum quickly, and that's the real issue here. Markets built on affordability and expansion can cool fast once buyers realize they have choices again. Surprise doesn't need a crash to feel like a meltdown. It just needs enough hesitation for listings to stack up and sellers to start chasing the market down. Number 6, Peoria. Peoria is a really important market to watch because it reflects a broader Northwest Valley slowdown. Local reporting shows the median single-family home price slipping from $550,000 to $535,000, a 2.7% decline, while pending sales were down 12.5% year over year. Zillow also shows the average home value in Peoria around $485,361, down 2.0% over the past year. That mix is exactly what real estate watchers pay attention to: prices softening, demand slowing, and sellers needing to work harder even when the market isn't in a free fall. Peoria still has good fundamentals, but from a momentum standpoint, it has definitely lost altitude. Number 5, Goodyear. Goodyear had a reputation as one of the Valley's more active suburban markets, but that energy has cooled off fast. Year-to-date closed sales were reported down 11.6%, new listings down 16.6%, and pending sales down 20.3%. Even though the median single-family home price was basically flat at around $485,000, flat pricing in a weaker demand environment is not automatically a sign of strength. It can also mean sellers are resisting the drop while the market underneath them deteriorates. Zillow shows the average Goodyear home value at $469,121, down 1.5% year over year, with 61.2% of sales under list and homes taking about 36 days to go pending. That tells you buyers are not chasing, they're negotiating, and in a market that depends on steady suburban demand, that's a major shift. Number 4. Buckeye is one of the most fascinating markets on this list because the surface data is mixed. Closed sales have actually jumped in recent reporting, but the median home price still declined 3.6% year over year, down to $400,000. Zillow also shows Buckeye's median sale price below its median list price, with homes taking about 45 days to go pending. That usually means one thing: the deals getting done are not happening on the seller's terms. Buyers may still be present, but they're selective, price-sensitive, and much less willing to overpay. Buckeye remains a growth market long-term, but in the short term, it looks exactly like the kind of suburb where a narrative can change very quickly. Number 3. Mesa. Mesa may not be the flashiest market in Arizona, but it's one of the most important because of its size and its role in the broader East Valley. Realtor.com reported Mesa's median listing price down 3.2% year over year, while Zillow shows average home values at roughly $436,165, slightly down from a year ago. Homes go pending in around 32 days, and about 60% of sales are still happening under list. Mesa matters because it's not a fringe market. When a place this central starts showing softer pricing and weaker seller leverage, it signals a broader change in the market mood. This is the kind of suburb where a normal correction can still translate into real pain for sellers who bought late, over-improved, or counted on appreciation to bail them out. Number 2. Chandler. Chandler has stronger fundamentals than many cities on this list thanks to jobs, tech, and long-term desirability. But even strong suburbs are not immune to a cooling cycle. Zillow search data shows Chandler's average home value around $521,806, down 2.4% year over year. Inventory sits around 1,078 homes, 71.7% of sales are happening under list, and the median days to pending is 33. That's not a collapse, but it is a major change in leverage, and that's what makes Chandler so important. If a high-demand suburb with strong employment anchors is still seeing widespread underlist sales and softer values, then sellers in weaker locations should be paying very close attention. Number 1. Gilbert. Gilbert rounds out this list because it captures the emotional side of this market shift. During the boom years, places like Gilbert felt almost bulletproof. Family appeal, newer homes, good schools, strong migration, and a premium suburban brand. But even Gilbert is softening. Zillow search data shows the average home value around $461, down 1.6% year over year. Inventory is 859 homes, 66.8% of sales are under list, and median days to pending sits at 30. The reason Gilbert ranks this high is not because it's the weakest suburb. It's because it represents the collapse of a mindset, the belief that desirable Arizona suburbs can only go one direction. They can't. And when expectation breaks before price fully breaks, that's often when the real shift begins. So what's the big takeaway here? Arizona is not reliving 2008. Analysts tracking the Phoenix market have been very clear about that. There is no evidence of a foreclosure tsunami or the kind of reckless oversupply that defined the last major crash. In fact, several experts say this market is better described as a normalization, with buyers finally regaining leverage after years of chaos. But normalization doesn't feel normal if you're a seller who anchored to 2022 pricing. And that's why these suburbs matter. In places like Scottsdale and Queen Creek, price cuts are getting larger. In Maricopa, values are clearly down. In Buckeye, Peoria, Mesa, Surprise, Goodyear, Chandler, and Gilbert, the common pattern is the same. Buyers have more room, sellers have less control, and the old momentum is fading. This is exactly what a suburban housing unwind looks like in real time. Not always dramatic, not always headline-worthy, but absolutely expensive for anyone who misreads the market. If you're a buyer, this environment may be your best opening in years. You have more choices, more negotiating power, and more time to think than Arizona buyers have had in a long time. If you're a seller, the lesson is even simpler. Price for the market you're in, not the market you miss. Because in a shifting suburb, the longer you wait for yesterday's price, the faster today's market moves on without you. And if you still think Arizona housing is just cooling a little, keep watching these suburbs, because the warning signs are already here.